curls looking like a Roman soldier salute. In this video, I'm going to show you why you should retire the crossbody curls. So if you've been on my page before, you know I love talking about the function of the muscle, so you best know how to train the muscle. So in dealing with the bicep, what the bicep wants to do is go through full elbow flexion and elbow extension. Think of fully lengthening your arm and closing the arm, slamming your forearm against your bicep. Now, your bicep, it does have 3 different heads. You have your short head, and you can bias this by keeping your elbows slightly in front, keeping a nice palms up position. And the more you supinate, especially as you go for that contraction, think pinky up, you're going to bias more of that short head when you're doing certain bicep curls.
Bicep Pro tip.
So when you're performing a bicep curl, what I like to do is, instead of stretching straight down, because when I stretch straight down here, there's actually no tension on the bicep. I like to stretch out. By me stretching out, I'm actually keeping more tension in my bicep in its fully lengthened range, versus when I come straight down, there won't be any tension here. So what I would love for you to try and come back and let me know is when you stretch out, are you able to feel a lot more tension versus when it's just straight down? And does the workout feel harder because now you're making the exercise more effective? And then you have the long head. To bias your long head during a bicep curl, what you actually want to do is fully lengthen the arm. And what your biceps can do is not just fully lengthen this way, it can actually pull back behind your shoulder. So this is actually a fully lengthened bicep. And this is what's really going to bias that long head of the bicep. And then you have your brachialis. That's the side of your bicep. That'll get activated by any position where your thumbs are up, like a nice neutral grip. And then you come up and you're thinking of squeezing that bicep on that contraction, thinking that elbow flexion, and then you will still want to open up. So we just went through the function of the bicep, and we went through how to bias different heads of the bicep. How does a crossbody curl fit any of that? Whenever I see people doing a crossbody curl, they're pretty much just taking their hands and putting it on their chest. So you're not going through your full elbow flexion where you're able to get a good contraction. Just as importantly, pay attention to what you have to do with your shoulders if you are just bringing your hands over to your chest. Your shoulders have to start rolling forward. Again, if you've seen the videos, you know how I think about training effectively means you're focusing more on the muscle and keeping you safer. I want you to be able to keep your posture back to protect your shoulder. When you start doing this over and over again and you start lifting heavier, you're constantly rolling that shoulder forward. You're just putting your body in a place where you can injure yourself. The other thing you're going to notice you have to do is move your elbow forward as you're curling up. Now, once you start moving your elbow forward and you're just bringing it, you're going to have to start using that front delt to move the weight. Whenever we're working out, we're trying to figure out how can we take other unnecessary muscles out and just have the working muscle isolated so it can do as much work as possible. So I would not want your elbows start moving forward where now you're going to start using other muscles.
Bicep Pro tip.
So when you're trying to do a bicep curl, one of the things I would want you to try is, instead of curling up and allowing your elbow to move forward, I want you to try and keep it fixed back. So when you're doing your bicep curls, what happens a lot is it wants to curl up and your elbow wants to move forward as you curl up. Again, we're taking tension off of that bicep and we're starting to use that front head of your delt to do that work. So what I would want you to do, keep that elbow fixed, curl up, keeping this back like you had it against a wall, and then try and fully contract and then go and do that stretch. Tell me if you noticed when doing this, the workout felt a lot harder, and maybe to do it effectively where your shoulder didn't have to roll forward and you started to swing, see if you have to drop the weight. So even though this crossbody curl, in my opinion, is very ineffective, I do want to go through 3 bicep curl exercises you can do, and each one would bias different heads of your bicep. So one of the best exercises you can do to bias your long head would be some cable curls, where it's positioned on the bottom. As we stated before, what the long head wants to do is a fully stretched bicep, and your bicep, to be fully stretched, can go behind your shoulder. So right now, this is my bicep fully stretched, and then I can keep that elbow back, core tight, keep my posture, and I can curl up And you're gonna notice I'm forcing my elbows back to keep that tension and keep everything back and stable, and then go into that fully lengthened position. Curl, pushing that elbow back, keeping it back contracted. So what you don't want to see is you just curling it up. You again, fully stretched, push that elbow back as you curl, squeeze, and really focus on that fully lengthened bicep on the bottom. A great one for that short head will be a preacher curl. The preacher curl, you want to put that armpit right to your elbow on the bench. I like to turn to the side so I can make sure I feel those rotator cuffs locked. I want to feel my bicep fully stretched. And as I curl up, I'm going to drive my elbow to my armpit into the bench and make sure it doesn't come off. I'm going to curl my pinky up slight, going for that full contraction to really bias that short head. And then lastly, when we're thinking of that brachialis, go for a hammer curl. You can keep that thumb up, and you're just thinking of slamming forearm into that bicep, still able to keep that posture. And again, I would stretch out this way, forward, not going straight down, but stretch forward, keeping that tension on the brachialis. Squeeze, feel that stretch, and contract. Let me know about the bicep curl variations we went through. I definitely want you to try it in the gym during the next arm day and tell me if you can feel a difference, especially applying the 2 tips that we went through. And hopefully you understand why I think we should retire the crossbody curls. Until next time, IFBB Pro James, and I'll see you guys in the next video.